All right, welcome to our channel. My name is Jay. I am the owner of Section8Consulting.com, and today I want to talk to you guys about two descending issues that are happening in Florida, are going to happen in Florida. So we have Hurricane Milton, Category 5, which is heading for the inside of Florida, around Tampa Bay and even Orlando. And we have some political decisions, poor ones, to capitalize on a Supreme Court decision to criminalize homelessness throughout the state of Florida, more so than what's required. Now, these two issues are now descending at the same time. So when we look at this, and this Hurricane Milton, what we're starting to see is this is probably one of the most powerful hurricanes I've ever seen. You know, I live on the Gulf Coast. 30 minutes, I'm in Galveston. Houston and New Orleans are big areas that are hit besides Florida. And this, I've never seen in my lifetime where we were spinning category 3s, 4s, and 5s out of the Gulf like this. And this storm here is a little bit different. The pressure is very low. It went from a category 1 to a category 5 within 3 hours. And it is growing. It's still growing now. It's encompassing nearly the whole Gulf of Mexico. The inner band, the most dangerous part, the bright red, that's hundreds and hundreds of miles. I mean, you're talking about very similar to a Vegeta scale when you deal with tornadoes, where it devastates everything. It levels everything. And you add that with ocean water, and the state of Florida being below that level, this thing is probably going to kill a lot of people. Greater than that, it would be reminiscent of me not to mention that when this does hit, it messes everybody up. A lot of people are going to be made homeless, more than you could ever imagine. I mean, we're talking about a F5 tornado, and then we're looking at a category 5 hurricane. This category hurricane, the most dangerous part, is expanding rapidly. It's at a 4 now, and we don't know. I suspect greatly that this thing is going to continue to grow, as they're talking about, and will likely make landfall as a 5 in a couple of days. What I find so interesting about all this is Governor Ron DeSantis, the great state of Florida, is going above and beyond to criminalize homelessness. In other words, any person seen in public that does not have a lease or a mortgage will be subject to arrest and fines. There will be no sleeping, no shut-eye, no naps, no nothing. You so much as take a nap on the bus, you're not considered housed, you're homeless. And so the hurricane is going to blow through there. So we should expect that men, women, and children, as soon as their homes and jobs and businesses have been blown away, they will then thus be subject to be arrested for being homeless. It's the opinion of the great state of Florida that after the hurricane blows and takes everything you've got, kills half your family, that we're now going to charge you with a crime for being homeless. I want to be clear about how fucking absurd all this is. This is what happens when we let politicians run things. I'm not talking about Democrats and Republicans. I'm talking about politicians. Now, they've set this law up so horribly that I don't know what's going to happen in the state of Florida at this point. I just know one thing. The storm, Hurricane Milton, in my opinion, will likely grow further. And by the time it hits, it'll be a 5 again. And it'll be quite deadly. It's not going to blow off roofs. It's going to blow houses down. It's going to levee everything. The inner core, the engine of this thing, this bright red, is literally 500 miles wide and growing. That means that it's going to wipe out multiple cities, half the state of Florida. The hurricane itself is bigger than half the state of Florida. The dangerous part of it's hundreds of miles. And so I don't want to create any I don't want anybody to be scared of that, but if you live there, you need to evacuate. You're not going to do well. Number two, the resources. If you're in those areas in the state of Florida, there's not going to be a hotel to rent. There's not going to be a housing voucher. There's not even going to be a housing authority left. Okay. There will not be any emergency voucher, none of that jazz. So if you live in those portions of Florida, that greater half, the southern portion of that, unless a hurricane moves, you need to leave. You need to leave that state. Seriously. There will be no resources out there. I mean, there'll be FEMA after the fact, but the thing about this is not a storm at its category that should be joked with. Then we have a separate problem. We're going to have a federal intervention of FEMA, Red Cross, and then we're going to have Ron DeSantis and his special rules to punish the homeless throughout the state. A lot of people be homeless. I suspect that he'll find some way to suspend his extraordinary rules. Be frank with you, I can't stand the fucking man. Okay? Nothing to do with politics. I just can't stand it. He goes against everything that I understand and everything that I do and I'm employed to do to help people, and makes it just fucking miserable. And just be upfront about it. So, all right. Hello to Kingdom Child Moments. Peace. Hot Sugar. Welcome back. How are you doing? Awaken says, what about Dallas? Well, Dallas is nowhere near Florida, so you should be okay. You might be a little warm out there. Thank you for your helpful videos. Thank you. So, my concern here, guys, is if you're in the state of Florida and the vast majority, the southern part, and even the middle part, including Orlando, that A, you get out, B, guys, you're going to be facing homelessness. There's no way around this. It will likely be a multi-billion-dollar storm, and it will be one of the worst we've seen in a long time. So we get out. There's not going to be resources, okay? I expect a lot of people to probably contact our office from throughout the states of Florida, and there will be no one to help you there because there's not going to be a housing authority open when it's blown over and flooded. There will not be continuum of care. There will be no emergency voucher. There will be no nothing other than the federal intervention, and it's only going to put people probably in tents. I think this is going to be very serious. And I'm not speaking from my own opinion. I'm speaking from surviving 5 different Category 5 hurricanes throughout Louisiana all the way through New Orleans. I know what they do. I've been through them personally. I watched them shut down the city of Houston for a month, and that wasn't even a Category 5. The ability to flood and damage is serious. And then the after effect of being made homeless, that means there are going to be hundreds of thousands that could be potentially homeless, and there'll be nothing for hundreds of miles that anybody can do about that outside of when they apply resources in. So what I'm asking here, I think, is for the state of Florida and its good governor, Mr. Ron DeSantis, to suspend his maddening rules and for the state legislature to reconsider their position on homelessness. Another thing, the irony of all of this is going to be this. The same people that thought it would be a brilliant idea to support Mr. DeSantis and his decision to criminalize homelessness, along with the other cities throughout Florida that did that, the irony is going to be when this thing does blow through, it's going to blow down your businesses, your homes, your friends, and your children's homes. And by proxy and by virtue, you and your family are going to learn what it means to be homeless. The same people that didn't want that old dirty, trash, homeless people around, when you lose your business, you lose your job, you'll lose your friends and your pets, then you're going to get to experience what most of these people have understood for a very long time of homelessness. Hurricanes don't care how much money you've got. It doesn't care whether you make it, live or breathe. And the same people that thought they were immune or invincible to this, we're going to have their ass handed to them when the storm leaves, and they'll be in the same position as the people that couldn't stand. That's the irony of all of this. The same people that want to have nothing to do with the homeless, want to drive them out the state, will lose everything. Many of them will, including the wealthy. And when there's no insurance and no money left and no big house and no political shit going on, then they themselves will understand the gravity of being homeless. The irony is very real. But I don't wish any of this on anybody. What I do wish is for those of you that have the money and the time to get out of the state of Florida to do so. Because most likely this is going to have a death toll on people that don't have a lot. That means seniors and veterans and disabled children that will die in a storm, while the wealthy can simply take a limousine and cruise down the coastline to where it's safe. That's the world we live in, folks. The have and have not. The care and care nots. I do care. So I'm going to tell you guys, for those of you that are close to the storm, are going to be in the middle of that storm, if you're left without nothing in your hands, even one flip-flop's blown off and the other's still there, if you're still struggling with housing, you give my office a call. We'll help you. I don't give a damn about Ron DeSantis. I don't give a shit about the legislator in the state of Florida. I don't care about all the politicians out there. Their opinions mean nothing to me. I would level them at the same level I would when I would go to the toilet or throw out trash. I don't give a shit about those people. Only thing that matters to me is that those that are veterans and seniors and disabled and others that need the help get it. And I don't give a fuck about the state of Florida and its rules. Florida's going to get what it deserves. All right, so let's move back to the comments here. Kingdom Child Moments. I love the name. You see, I missed my shaving today, but I got to tell you, I've had a long day. I've been up since 4, working on cases, then doing consults with clients that need help. Leave that, then I'm working on inventory for my own store. I have a physical store. And leave there, and then, of course, making a video, and then I'm trying to deal with Halloween stuff. So I'm literally was out at 6 in the morning in my boxers trying to put up Halloween stuff. So I live a very strange life, I guess. Awaken goes on. What about Jacksonville and Tallahassee? You know, guys, first of all, nobody ever really expected a hurricane this powerful to just whip up in the middle of the Gulf. Normally, this stuff floats off the coast of Africa, right? Not only has it happened once, it's happened twice. How many hurricanes can we ever name going back in history that went from a category 1 to a 5 in 3 hours? Never. This is the extraordinary ability of us to pollute and damage everything, chop every tree, pollute every ounce of water, dump plastic and trash in the ocean. We fire up the planet so we smother ourselves till we can't breathe anymore. And now the Gulf is raging hot, and it's basically an engine to create hurricanes. Hurricane starts 400 miles on one side is a tiny little thunderstorm, and then one day later it's a category 5 spinning to murder people in Florida. We watched that happen in Wilma just 2 weeks ago. The Gulf is a rather deadly place now because it's overheated. The water is, a lot of it's dead from pollution because our politicians have elected to allow oil rigs to drill the shit out of the bottom of the basin and pollute the rest. And so here we are with this. So now we don't even need to wait for storms to roll off the coast of Africa. We develop hurricanes now within a few hundred miles directly in the Gulf of Mexico. I never thought I'd see this. And we're doing it. We're doing it every couple of weeks now. God knows what will happen next year. So I don't know what part of hurricane. It looks, the size of the hurricane has increased so big now. It's almost the size of the Gulf of Mexico. That's nuts. 1,200 miles wide. And the danger area of a hurricane is usually the center. Usually you have a half a mile wide eye, and then you may have about 4 hours of danger zone, where the winds are at 150 to 190. This thing is growing at such a rapid pace that the danger part, which would normally be 4 hours, is more like 10 hours. So it will encompass the greater portion of Florida, which means when it comes knocking, it means everything from Orlando all the way up to, up, going up. All that's going to be devastation. You're on a sandbar. You're below sea level, and you don't just contend with 180 and 90 mile an hour winds. You're contending with 30 and 40 foot waves blowing on to this, and so dissolving the beach from the inside of Florida. Then where does it go after that? Look, a category 3 can mess things up and make life hellish. We just saw the bill for the last category 3. A category 5 will kill people. It will drop buildings to their bricks. Okay, it won't joke with you. And when you knock out the middle of Florida, it means you're going to lose access to the south, the great southern parts of it. All that stuff's going to be gone. You guys are hard about it. You ain't going to believe it, but I'm not worried about whether or not buildings fall and the rich lose their business and the politicians don't have a road to drive their Lincolns on while they smoke cigars. What I'm concerned with is the people who don't have the money to get the fuck out of there, that'll be left homeless with nothing and no resource. We got FEMA, but it's out of money. And then it's up to the politicians again. Oh, well, shit, why should we help anybody in the state of Florida? So when hurricanes pass, it'd be too late for people to leave then. And then it'd be, oh, well, let me call the housing authority. Well, it blew down too and it's flooded. Well, let me call and get an emergency voucher. Well, how are you going to drive there? There's no road. There's no employees to man the housing authority because they already left. There's no emergency voucher because there's no building and there's no employees left. Nobody's going to work in that. And this will go on for months, which will create a national problem. That's what Category 5s do. I went through one in Baton Rouge, Hurricane Andrew. You could take a grown man, hold on to a pole, and you'll be perfectly straight. Your feet point straight out. It'll grab a piece of wood or a piece of steel and will shoot it through a brick wall. You really want to be in the middle of an F5 tornado? Well, imagine an F5 tornado that's 900 miles wide. Okay, that's what this is going to be like. Though there's no fun on the ground with a hurricane, these sustained winds, and my concern is more the water. But after all that's said and done, most of the state of Florida probably won't have power. There'll be no way to access the farther southern parts because this is going to leave a big, giant, empty track through that state. And Disney World, if it ends up hitting in that, they might as well just call the insurance company for about $500 billion because it'll blow all that shit off. And there won't be a Disney World for the next 2 years while they have to rebuild it. But thankfully, the state of Florida has implemented for those who have the money and the wealth, have had their house reinforced for hurricane stuff. But all the rest that are low income, well, it's just like the big bad wolf. We'll come blow your house down and then we'll leave you for half dead. We'll give you a free roll of socks and best wishes. We'll pray for you. Fuck your prayer. We need help, right? I'm not talking about God. I don't want anybody to get upset. I'm not talking about religion or God, but you see my point. So Mr. DeSantis is giving an alert for the rich that have gasoline, for the rich and wealthy that can leave the state. Please put gasoline in your Ferrari and leave the state. We'll just get body bags for the rest of the people that didn't have money. I love to see the governor's mansion blown off the beach. And then the homeless that have no home, well, they're simply going to die out there. Some will. They're going to die because there's not a place for them to go. And because now they're criminals, thanks to the politicians of the state of Florida. So they'll die a rather bitter and vicious death. They'll have no access to anything, not power, not stores, can't even get a honey bun from the gas station because it'll all be closed. But I'm hoping, because I know homeless people well, they can survive just about anything. I imagine they'd be the last standing if we had a nuclear war because they understand how to survive. So while I do believe some of the vulnerable that are homeless will die, I believe that the homeless that are out there, the hardcore, I think they understand how to survive better than anybody. And for that, I'm glad. If you're facing serious crisis in the state of Florida and you get through this, do call my office. We'll do everything we can. We're already coordinated with we're doing what we can with clients to help coordinate through FEMA and Red Cross, and especially with Hurricane Wilma. To be clear, my office doesn't have a direct connection to the federal agencies. We're working to see what we can do because it is impeccable timing that a hurricane would hit. And if you're having a housing crisis, it means that the extraordinary powers and monies that come from the federal government could actually expedite your ability to get housing. It just won't be under the typical way through your housing authority or through emergency housing voucher. Okay, but the federal government, once it houses you in a tent, you'll have federal workers working for you at that point, and they do a really good job because they can't. Every person leaving their tent has to be housed. So you guys that are out there that aren't technically homeless, you should capitalize on this federal program when they're there. Okay, because there's a big difference between the feds doing something for you and the trash that you see working at the housing authority and the nuts that work over there at Continuum of Care. There's a big difference between a $3 hooker working at the housing authority. Let me repeat it. The $3 hooker working at the housing authority and then the federal government with people with actual master's degrees working to get you housing. Okay. I'll deal with enough nonsense when it comes to PHAs and all the people they hire that are crazy. All right, so moving back in the comments. Hot sugar. This is a dangerous hurricane. Absolutely. Haley Neiman, Orlando was 83 feet above sea level. Well, that's Orlando. And you said it's 83 feet. I'm going to do some checking today to see just how accurate, look at some geographical maps and see what parts that are above or below sea level. Hot sugar, exactly. No places to rent. Well, you know what? When a hurricane hits, if you think the housing market's hard to rent from now, let's take about a third of the houses that are damaged off the market and see if there's anything left to rent in the state of Florida. So I'm going to be advising all clients to exit the state of Florida. I didn't think it was worth being there anyways, but now I really don't because it's going to be incredibly hard. The demand for housing and vouchers post-storm is going to be obscene. Florida was already on my shit list. It ranked number 4 in states worst to deal with when it came to housing vouchers. Now it's going to move up to the second worst, if not the first. The competition level will be almost as extreme as dealing with Los Angeles and Orange after this hurricane hits, and even this is the last one. Myra Mama, no one's going to be able to go to Disney World anyways. Well, left up to Ron DeSantis, there wouldn't even be a Disney World. We would just have crackheads in a park, and then you can just spin the children on the wheel, We don't even need a Disney park. Florida's becoming like California. We're making our own special rules. I live in a state with the same thing. Texas is another crazy state where we make our own rules. We can shoot the postman. Anybody we don't agree having our lawn, we can just shoot you in the face, and then it's okay. We design our own special rules in the state. Florida and California follow the same guidelines. So that's the way it goes. Kingdom Child Moments. Yes, indeed. Name of the issue is FEMA's broke. Yep. FEMA's always broke, but the war machine's never broke. We just dropped another few trillion on bombs. We're fighting 14 different wars. We're housing our military in 91 different countries. The war machine is always funding. We just simply don't have a copper penny for the homeless. We don't have any money for the retirees, seniors, or disabled. They're unimportant. If you need to make war, then we have lots of money for the war game. We have millions and billions for elected presidential candidates and bullshit. We have lots of money for that. We have no money for the homeless. For what they've already spent going back and forth for these 2 presidential candidates, we could have solved a lot of problems at the homeless level. But we'd rather spend it on diamond earrings and Gucci slippers and everything else. Hot sugar, right? Exactly. No one ever has been able to rely on FEMA. Well, FEMA, let me tell you, FEMA can do a good job when it wants. But if you put FEMA and you hang it with a political noose, it won't be able to do much other than give out coupons for Hot Pockets. The Lord's portion. What other places on your list of worst places of voucher? Number 1 will always be Orange and LA County, and that's expanding to now most of Southern California. Ranked number 2 on my list as of today would be the state of Florida, the whole southern portion of the state of Florida. Third of that would be Maryland, as it's a nightmare. And Maryland used to be number 2. And then, of course, the 5 boroughs in New York are pretty bad. Beyond that, I would rank the southern states, including the one I was raised in, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Arkansas. You wouldn't catch me dead trying to get a voucher for any client in any of those states. Why? Because that's the dirty South for you. I know I was raised there. I understand it. It's just not enough money. And to be frank with you, if the only thing your voucher can do is produce rent for a crack house, then what's the point of even being there? If you're going to be homeless, you might as well port your voucher to Honolulu. You can be dead ass broke and still live on the beach. There's no need to go live in the hood of the trailer park. Just going down to Hawaii. I mean, shit. If you're really gonna be homeless and not have anything, at least go do it somewhere nice. Don't waste your life out in places like Florida, uh, and Orange County and all that, with gang members and all other stuff going on. Go out to Honolulu. Go out to the beach. I mean, make the most of being homeless. Make smart decisions. You got clean water, a nice view. Why would you want to stay on Skid Row? If you're going to do it right. Disabled outcasts. Always invoke ADA early and often. Absolutely. Lord's portion. I might be moving to Texas with a voucher. Texas is still a very ideal market. We've got look, I've got my own hit list with Texas, okay? I'm here. Can't stand it. I'm here for my own reasons, but, let's be honest. The economy is still good here. Rentals are not nuts. The housing market isn't quite as nuts as it is other places. So, and we have 3 of the largest cities in the top 10. So it makes it ideal for chasing down vouchers. If you like a lot of flat territory and people that'll shoot you for walking on their land, then you're welcome to Texas. Frank Berg, we need leadership like you. You know what? There'd probably be a second insurrection after Mr. Trump, because after I levied my ideas on the White House, the shit would probably pop off. They'd burn the place down. Who knows what would happen, because I'd probably say or do something in that White House that would upset people on the wrong side of things, and then I'd be shot 2 or 3 times. I'd probably be at every stop on the campaign, somebody would take a pot shot at me. I'm more about getting things done realistically and telling people shit they don't want to hear. So for me to have a national format, yeah, I'll probably be executed at every stop. Lord Sports says thank you. So I want to reiterate one message to you guys. If you're in the state of Florida, you're struggling with housing and you're fixing to actually have a hurricane blow down your throat, and what little you have left, your food stamp car is about to blow out the window, the last slipper, you've already lost one slipper. You're only walking with one slipper left, and the hurricane's fixing to blow that one off. Call my office. This is what we do. We give people housing. A lot of you people, I'm probably going to have to put in a Greyhound and get you the hell out of there. You can do better. You don't need to stay to Florida. You don't need all the jazz. They have their own special wars against Disney and all the other drama. I mean, really, politics is like dealing with drama queens in the state of Florida. Same shit we see out there in the state of California. Democrats and Republicans are famous for their bullshit. In between all that, what we get is the people that need help the most don't get it. Because while they're having fun and popping champagne on both aisles, nobody's fucking thinking about the small person. It's upsetting because we spend so much more money on crazy shit. Florida spends more on a single mile of road than they ever have on homeless. A piece of pavement. They spend more time chewing bubble gum and talking about creating special laws to punish and criminalize homeless in the state of Florida than they actually spend on making real laws. They spend weeks thinking up all this shit. Yeah, they never put that kind of thought in anything else. It's all just fun and games. It's like a bunch of kindergartners sitting in the Capitol. I don't expect everybody to agree. If you don't agree, then, hey, click off the channel. Don't worry about it. I'm not here to be agreeable. All right. Hot sugar. No one helps the homeless. Well, I do. And many of you do. Even people that are low income try to help the homeless. Because I think a lot of us do empathize. Some of us have been there. Some of us have lived through it. Some of you have gotten so close to being homeless that you haven't forgot. You haven't forgot. We all have a moral or ethical center. You can choose A or B or both or none. But right now, my concern greatly is for the state of Florida. Because a lot of soccer moms and dads, it goes, oh, well, I won't give change to that piece of shit at the light that's homeless. Now it's going to be interesting when soccer mom and soccer dad get their house blown away. Their job's taken from them, and they're left with nothing. They become the very trash they don't want to be. The irony's a bitch, isn't it? We don't watch all them soccer moms, the upper middle class, get their ass handed to them in the storm. And when the insurance company don't pay for it, they're going to come around like a bunch of roaches, rats, and snakes, begging like a dog, deeply regretting their decisions to put their little political cards and go vote for an asshole. And they're going to deeply regret that when they're over there at the soup kitchen sucking on it. And the irony's a real bitch, isn't it? That's why I want to see this whole thing play through. And when soccer mom and soccer dad call mom up, I'm going to hang up on their ass. You give 211 a call. The operators are standing by 24 hours a day. They'll give you 1,000 numbers that lead to nowhere. You'll get a free roll of socks and a yoga mat. You can stay at the shelter that just blew over. It doesn't exist anymore. Because I'm not going to help people that never did a damn thing for anybody. That's how I feel about it. All right, so Lord Sports says it happens. Yes. Robert Foley says target. Well, I don't know. Maybe the state of Florida is a target. I could be a target for making this video, but oh well. I'm used to controversy. I wouldn't be throwing housing authorities under the bus every chance I got if I was in fear. All right, guys. So tomorrow we're going to make another video. This time we're going to get away from all the theatrics and hurricanes and all that. And we're going to discuss some housing solutions. I'm going to think about it this afternoon when I have at least 30 seconds to myself. And I'm going to think about a nice topic where we can discuss policy and procedure. In other words, how do we navigate the system to get low-income housing, affordable housing, Section 8 vouchers, emergency vouchers? How do we do this? How do we weaponize the rules that are on the books legally and under Title 24 to be able to expedite the process for you to get it so you don't languish for 5, 10, and 15 years? What do we do? And how do we do it? How do we best play our cards? Even if you've got a learning disability, even if you suffer from schizophrenia 6 out of 7 days a week, it doesn't matter. I've worked with people that have extraordinary and profound mental and physical disabilities, and even they have clarity sometimes, and that's all that you need. If somebody don't want to work with you or help you with housing and leave you on the sidewalk like nothing, you give my office a call. I don't ever leave anybody out, regardless of your mental health, your physical health, what color, what race, who you decide to have relations with, males or females. Though I will disagree and not help you if you do stuff with kids and animals. Let's be honest, okay? But the point is, I think tomorrow's video is to help us better understand how to navigate this system. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up because now I'm just rambling, and I've said lots of horrible shit that I really wanted to say anyway, so I've quite enjoyed that. If you didn't enjoy that, then remember, don't subscribe and get lost. Lose the channel, and you can go over and bother somebody else. I've enjoyed talking with you guys, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow's video. By the way, guys, Sunday, we, as you know, work with some of the largest landlords in America. I get multinationals that call our company all the time. We work with them. Sometimes they have 2 or 3,000 houses. Sometimes they own 50 or even $100 million worth of properties. The guys we're fixing to make the Sunday video about, it's going to be some nice properties. Now, I'm not going to disclose anything yet till I get all the information from them, but I'm going to tell you this. Those that are on this channel, if you end up happening to live where I'm going to be marketing their stuff, then I can tell you have an exceptional chance to get there. And guess what? You won't even have to meet the 3X rule for rent. So if you're fortunate enough to end up living where they are and you've got a voucher you can't use right now, it's a very strong chance that you'll be able to rent from that property, provided you have normal circumstances, okay? One last thing before I go. If you've ever been convicted of abusing a child, abusing an animal, battery on a woman, or battery of a senior, don't contact my office. I won't help you. I'd rather see you roast in hell. So if you have those convictions, don't bother calling me. Call 211. They'll give you a free roll of socks, okay? I will not, and I repeat, I will not help you. Okay. And there's no law preventing me from doing that. I write the terms of service of my company, and I won't help you. All right, guys. So I've enjoyed talking with you guys, and I am hoping that something better comes out of this hurricane in the state of Florida. I hope it doesn't end up being worse than my own thoughts of it. But after surviving 5 of them so far, I don't have a lot of hope right now. But we'll see what this hurricane does. I've enjoyed talking with y'all in the realest way possible, and we will see you around this time tomorrow. Bye bye for now.